Assalamu alaikum again. I'm back with another video. This one not a user suggestion, but something I heard on my local news that I thought about for a while since I first heard about it. I thought, well, I think I thought enough about it. It's time to get it off my head. Well, here in Iowa, our local pharmacy board, which is a governing entity for all pharmacists who work here in Iowa, has approved or recommended medical use of marijuana. I know I've heard of that in other places. It's supposedly legal in California, but from what I heard out in California, it's not as regulated as one might think. But anyway, marijuana is, I thought it was totally haram. I mean, for one thing, the stuff stinks when it burns. I smelled it way back in high school when I was on a camping trip with other kids in my school, and we found a wild patch of this, what I used to call HAPPYWEED. So we brought it back to our campsite and just tossed it in our fire, and whew, that stuff stinks. I mean, forget refining, it just stinks when it burns. I mean, the only good part about it was it kept all the flies away from our campsite. That's the only good part about it. But anyway, this idea behind marijuana and supposed medical uses, well, people claim that it eases pain, it eases nausea, that no other drugs can do. But if this is really the case, why don't they isolate the compound that has that effect and make that into a drug instead of telling people to go pollute their lungs? I mean, what's up with that nonsense? I mean, way back in the day, long before my parents were even a thought of in the eye of their grandparents, you know, they would have been too young for that, but the source for cocaine used to be a, a soda additive until someone discovered that it's got its own problems. But, well, we all know where that went. But if there is in fact a compound in the marijuana plant, why doesn't a lab just isolate the dang thing? Get rid of the nasty bits so you don't have to light it up and smoke your nose off. I mean, can it be that complicated? Is it that difficult? I mean, if scientists in one lab can sequence the human genome, why can't they parse out marijuana and just isolate each compound? Find out which one actually has an actual benefit and then replicate it. I mean, you wouldn't even have to use a real thing. You could just replicate that molecule and make a drug out of it and give that to people. I mean, is there really a need to prescribe a jar full of badly rolled cigarettes? I mean, people that want this stuff, they're losing places where they can smoke it. I mean, here in Iowa, we have a public places smoking ban. You can't even smoke underneath a bus stop shelter, but I've seen people do it anyway. But you can't do it, you can't smoke in hotels or restaurants or bars. But the only exception to that rule is the gambling floor of a casino, which is totally stupid because you're polluting the lungs of the dealers who might not even like to be around cigarette smoke, or the other gamblers might not want to be around it. Of course, I wouldn't go into those places anyway. 2 reasons. It's haram, and it's nowhere near a bus stop, so why would I even want to bother with that anyway? I could think of better uses for my bus pass. But, you know, it's just something to think about. I mean, first we got gay marriage allowed in this state, and I am so not cool with that. Although I know some people really close to me who would beg to differ, but that's their problem. And now this. Well, I think our saving grace, besides the law here, would be that our legislature is cutting its session short by 2 weeks because of our budget problems, so they probably wouldn't have time to mess with it anyway. So, but even when they do, we just have to pray to Allah that this kind of nonsense isn't allowed to happen. I mean, drug companies are coming up with new drugs all the time. They're always doing trials. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be something better than smoking happy weed just to try to make you feel a little better. I mean, I take a lot of prescription drugs myself, but I want real drugs for a real problem. I don't want grass. If I want grass, I'll look out my window and dig under, well, right now I'll just wait for the snow to melt. Then I'll see grass. But that's all I want to, that's the only kind of grass I want to bother with, unless it's lemongrass, and then I'll go buy that in the grocery store and put it in a recipe. But that's it. This medical marijuana crap, it's all just crap. It makes about as much sense as trying to put a hijab on a cat. A little something to think about. And I think I'll go to bed now. I hear my bed calling me. I don't want to miss Fajr tomorrow, so Assalamu alaikum, dobry wieczór, and miał